What is energy? It's a big question, and we all have it, or we all use it, and the amount that we have available to use is kind of the question of a lot of different disciplines, especially health is a really big one concerned with internal energy, how much energy a person has to use throughout the day. And obviously you can break that down into, how a person sleeps, how well they exercise, how well they're eating, what their emotional regulation is, their stress levels in general. And so we have this concept of energy that's very ingrained in our culture, especially in relation to our person, our being, and that energy in different traditions or cultures, they have different words to describe it. There's this one word that comes to me, which is kind of like the word avatar, but it's called awantar, 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 and it means endurance. And it's this term that comes from the Tarahumara, the running people of Mexico, and these people run sometimes a marathon every day, if not 2 marathons, or that equivalent distance, 25 to 50 miles a day. And it's just ingrained into their culture, and this concept of having endurance is obviously very important. And so when we think about that, applying it to our lives, most of us aren't running a marathon every day, and maybe wouldn't care to, but at the same time recognizing that there are these infinite sort of different expressions of human tenacity and will, and that sort of drive for resilience. And at the same time, say in the more like militaristic approach to that of just trudging through with a backpack through the woods at 4 a.m., hiking 12 miles before you start your day, there's a sort of experience that, depending on who you are, that sort of deep character building can be thwarted by your ability to change your state in response to the external stimulus. So to actually accept and grow through whatever it is that we're facing, right? I think it was Jim Rohn, who's Tony Robbins' teacher, and a number of other people have said, don't ask for the task or the test to be easier, ask for yourself to be stronger. Because whatever is hard now will just always be hard, right? Things don't get easier, but we get better at them. So as we connect to our energy and connect to our ability to be present, this is sort of where the real magic happens, because we're tuned in to this space of presence, and regardless of what our experience is in the moment, we can always choose to be present. We can always choose to take a deep breath, and we can always choose to go beyond whatever our momentary experience is. And obviously this is much easier to do when we're not in the middle of some kind of intense test, right? Or some sort of intense, even if it is an actual marathon or whatever sort of challenge that we're facing. So the purpose for practicing presence is so that when we are experiencing those things, that we can actually bring all of that we've cultivated into the present moment that is being brought to us all of the time, sometimes different than others. And it's the same thing as training for an athletic event. You wouldn't want to go, again, jump into a marathon without having previous training. So working yourself up to that level of, once again, presence by having some sort of daily practice of mindfulness or meditation or other sort of centering activity that brings you back to yourself. And this is important in relation to resilience and grit, because if we are true in practicing presence, there's a certain level of intensity that builds over time, and the more present we become, just the more our awareness can continue to expand. And in the same vein with sports, if you are practicing running, you could get faster, you could become not only better at running long distances, quicker, but also feel less tired, more joyful actually as you are experiencing the thing. So not to discount the inner experience even when it comes to outer feats of strength and simple things like that our ability to cultivate that inner sense of joy or love, or this overflowing of like a positive emotion. In yoga, it's called bhakti. It's just that outpouring of love and joy that life is, or that we can all experience. And so being present to the tests of life and being present as much as we can all the time and cultivating a practice of that can help us build our daily awareness, so that when we do even want to consciously change our state, we can. When we consciously want to increase the amperage on our energy, so to speak, for a short period of time, we're capable of doing that. And this can be seen in any sort of domain. Probably one of the most common ones is just cramming for exams. But this sort of immediate uptick in energy that we feel we have to consciously create for a short period of time, and how the mind is totally capable of doing that, especially when there's external pressures telling us to do it, but to be able to internally generate that with intrinsic motivation, to be able to build that energy and that resilience throughout our lives, and then being able to be self-directed in the way that we apply our resilience, right? Because if life is going to throw challenges at us, it's kind of like the choosing what kind of suffering you want. Do you want the necessary suffering or the unnecessary suffering? If we are constantly creating a life where we have planned discomfort or challenge and that sort of thing, then we will be the one disciplining ourselves. Otherwise, the world will do its best to discipline us in that way. So this concept of being in tune with your energy, being in tune with your mindset, and your ability to really consciously create states of being, regardless of whatever your external circumstances, is a deep way to bridge the spirit and the body, so to speak, or the mind and the heart, to understand that we are connected beyond this plane of three-dimensional reality, or even the dimension of thought, that our consciousness is the thing that is propelling everything, and that when we tune into our consciousness and we tune into our breath, that breath is kind of connected to everything with us. And when we make even our breath conscious, just bringing the unconscious thing that's an autonomic nervous system response, when we bring that into the awareness, then we start to become more conscious of everything, because breath is spirit. So that's a simple way of feeling about it. And I wish you the best with this experience. I know it's difficult sometimes, and life has its ways of bringing us back to the present moment. So be with it, ride the waves, and you'll do great. Namaste. Peace.